Been working on a little project. My wife has been had some successful runs in the incubator. She's bought some hatching eggs, and we've had a few come off herself. A lot of people would say, you know, wintertime's not the best time to be hatching chicks, but here's the thing. You hatch chicks in November or December, and you can keep them in good shape until they get feathered out good, and what have you. Then usually you'll have, you know, the pullets from the bunch, you'll have a bunch of them ready to, pretty close to being ready to start laying eggs about the time spring starts. So, you know, or maybe, well, I'm saying somewhere around maybe April, middle April, at least by the end of April, hopefully, you can have a whole bunch of pullets laying eggs, and that's the plan. We might even have some extras. I don't know. She's hatched a lot of them. I don't even know how many we've got in our outside grow out pen, but we've got 15 or 16 in there in a tote, one of them plastic totes that she made, put wire on and, you know, what have you. And I don't know exactly how many are in there, but they're just getting way too big for that. So our project today is, and I've been meaning to do this probably for a couple of years, and I always put it off or did it a different way. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to build a pretty good sized brooder / grow out pen. The difference when I mention a brooder and a grow out pen, a brooder is something where is tight quarters where you keep your chicks confined together, where you can keep a light on them or some other means and keep them warm. A grow out pen is when they start to get a little bit bigger, they're feathered out, they're more tolerant of the cold, this time of year especially, and they're not really ready to turn loose into the general population. You'll remember a previous video where we had chicks, you know, about like that running around the backyard. Well, that was in the middle of summer, okay, and the weather is just not great to be doing that at this time of year. What I've done here is I've taken on the table saw, and, you know, I cut them off on the miter saw to length, but I've cut a 3/4 by 3/4 notch out of the top of this, out of the top of each board. And what's going to happen is when I put this together, let me show you here. I've got, not going to a lot of trouble as far as square and plumb, or well, I guess plumb's not a big issue here, but anyway, the plan is when I get these put together with these, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go here. I'm not pre-drilling these. I hope I don't split it. Anyway, something like that right there. And now, as you can see, what I'm going to have is I'm going to have a 3/4 inch tall by 3/4 inch wide little trough all the way around the inside, and that's where my wire's going to sit. Okay, I'm going to make a cage, basically an all-wire cage with just like ones I've showed you in the past, ones like our rabbits are in, but it's going to be a one section and it's not going to have a bottom in it. Okay, even though I've told you and I've said it numerous times, I don't like wood. When it comes to chicks, they need to be able to huddle down, and they need to have draft-free conditions. And that's what this is going to be. Okay, this is going to have wood chips in it, and it will be changed periodically, usually weekly. Dana usually takes care of that. She'll empty it out, throw that stuff out on the compost pile, and put more wood chips in. If she can't find wood chips, a lot of times she'll use the alfalfa stems and what have you that go to waste from feeding the rabbits. A lot of times the thicker stems, I don't know, the rabbits don't like them and they waste them, and we end up taking those back out. Those will go on the compost pile, but if needed, they also go into chick brooder to give them a little bedding or something to huddle down in for warmth. To a certain age, we put a light on them, a regular incandescent bulb, usually just a 60 watt, because we don't make the brooder very tall. That way it'll be down close to them and the heat can... This one in particular, we're going to have like a thermal blanket, like the little $5 throws, thermal throw blankets that you can get at Walmart. We put these over part way if needed to help hold the heat in when we got a light on. But I think the ones that are going to be in here, see, my wife has got, I want to say another 18 or 19, maybe 20 chicks due to hatch the day after Christmas, which is this coming Saturday. Okay, this is being filmed on a Tuesday, late evening, like after 10 o'clock. So, but we're making a brooder. I'm planning on, if I can, putting a heating element, a regular heating element, so we don't have to keep a light on it all the time. But right now what I'm going to try to show you is I'm going to put this together. This is an idea, okay, and I don't really have plans. I mean, I do in my head, but I don't have anything written down. I'm doing this as I go, more or less. But as you can see, if it's just, it's just kind of a work in progress. If I do run into a problem, I have to alter dimensions or something, I will certainly make a note for those of you who might want to use an idea similar to this. But, I mean, the idea here is not really to give you a perfect set of plans and say, here, take this and go build this. I don't do that. What I do is, because if you're like me, you have to make do with what you have. So a lot of times my product or my end result gets changed to correlate with the materials that I have on hand to use on a project, okay? But I've just always been more of a do-it-yourselfer, and if I've got something around, I like to repurpose something and make it work before I have to run to the hardware store, the lumber store, all these places that are going to take money that I usually am running short on anyway. Any homesteader knows where I'm coming from. Okay, it's not just me, it's homesteading. Homesteaders, that's why we learn to be frugal. Okay, so I'm going to come over here and I'm going to do the same thing here. Now what I'm going to end up putting 2 in each corner, and then I'm probably going to put 2 here and then 2 around on this side, same with each. So there'll be 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16 total screws in this bed. up the frame. Let that noisy air compressor kick off. There's my little square. Now what I do, or what I'm going to do, is I need to cut some boards here. What I'm going to do, I'm going to cut some 36 inches long to go all the way across the bottom. I'm just going to make a slat bottom. That's what I'm going to do. Okay. And to do that, what I'm going to do, the work goes a lot faster. And I'm going to make these 36 inches long because that's what the outside dimension, out this side, not in here, this out here, the outside. That's what that ends up being, is 36 inches. So, no problem. I'm going to, now you're probably wondering why the little lip, why the trough, why don't I just take it, staple some wire to the outside or set it on top or something. Well, I don't want it permanently attached to the frame. Okay? You have to clean these things out. You have to clean them out good, and you have to clean them out frequently. Okay, so these things get cleaned, and they get cleaned often, and they need to be cleaned well. And the only way you're going to clean them well, I mean, let's face it, you know, anybody has a tendency to say, well, that's good enough. But a lot of times that's not good enough. It's just a simple matter of, it's too much trouble, that's as good as I'm going to mess with right now. Well, the easier you make something to clean up, the better job you're likely to do on a consistent basis. Okay? So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to make this to where the chickens are not going to be able to lift it up, okay? And I don't foresee predators being a problem with this because it's not going to really be where a predator, I don't think, to where a predator can have access to it. In the time of the year, we've got space in the house where we set up a brooder from having to keep a light on them all the time because, you know, the house has got heat. So we'll catch back up with you in a few minutes. All right. Okay, folks, we're back here as promised. I did have to use a couple of boards. This is upside down, by the way. So I started sounds like something I would do. Start tacking these things down with a brad nailer, and then find out that I put them on the top instead of the bottom. But luckily I caught myself before that happened. Leaving the lip here, makes it come out. Got it all covered. Okay. Again, it's not pretty, folks, but one thing I can guarantee you, humans are just about the only, I guess it is the only critter on the planet that is real picky about their surroundings. You know, many feel that they got to have the best of this and the best of that. And, well, I'm not saying all of them feel that way, because there's a lot that don't. But trust me, any of the critters we keep around here, as long as they're warm, dry, and their bellies are full, they don't care what it looks like. Well, chances are, if they get the chance, they're going to poop or pee on it in the first. They're going to poop or pee on it first chance they get anyway. So they don't care what it looks like. But you know, just keep that in mind when you're building something for critters, and you make some kind of a fuss about what it looks like. Well, just keep in mind that that's for you. You're not doing that for your animals because they don't care. You know, chances are, you know, you're picky. It's something that's going to be in an area of your yard or on your home that's people are going to see a lot when they come over or drive by or something, and you know, you want it to look nice. Nothing wrong with that. But just keep in mind that's for you. It's not necessary unless you think it's necessary, because the animals, nah, they don't care. And I mean, they don't care as far as looks. They like a draft-free house, or shelter, especially in the in the cool part of the year, and so on and so forth. So I'm gonna get my brad nailer. Now this is all set. That's how I'm gonna leave it. And I'm gonna get my brad nailer again, and we're gonna start making some noise with that thing. I'm gonna go over here. I've got a 60-gallon tank pumped up to about 155 psi, so I think it's got enough air in it for me to shoot these nails in. So I'm gonna turn that compressor off. Hope y'all still hear me over there. I'm gonna turn that compressor off, so the only noise we'll be making, I guess, will be with the gun. Let me see if I've got. Yeah, I've still got plenty of nails in it. Okay. So what I'm gonna do is just like this. Okay. Now the reason I turned it this way, or what have you, I mean, it doesn't, well, it didn't really matter, but as far as that, but I lined it up out here. I've got a, just keep in mind, you've got a full 2x4, what is it, 1.5 inches, something like that, a plain 2x4, lumber 2x4. Side on that side, put the thinner ones in the middle. It don't matter, you know. Again, the only weight that's going to be on this thing, I mean, see, there's a little bit of give there, but the only weight that's going to be on this thing or in this thing is, you know, maybe 15 or 20, depending on their age. It'll hold more chicks if they're younger, but as they get, that's a mistake a lot of people make, by the way. They're trying to, they go to, yeah, I'm still here. People go to incubate chicks, and I don't blame them. I mean, it's an enjoyable experience. If you've never experienced, got to experience a little chick hatching out of an egg, I'm gonna tell you, first time I ever saw that, I just nearly cried. I mean, it was just, I mean, you know, I guess it's just like watching any other critter being born, but, you know, I mean, you know, I saw my own children being born. I cried then too, so. I still ain't got over that one. Oh, I'm being mean. Oh, my kids are rotten and ornery, but I love them. I wouldn't take a farm in Texas for them. But anyway, okay. This is a brooder, so you see right here how big our brooder is going to be. Okay, now then I'll show you the mistake I made. Okay, this wire that I had cut out ahead of time is the roll. See this roll? That big old roll of wire? 36 inches is the width here. So I was just going to use the 36-inch width and go with that, and be just as happy as a pig in slop doing it, but I screwed up the lumber part. So as you can see that laying in there, I'm going to have to cut it. I'm going to have to cut just outside of that one row off of there. I'll tell you what, these are a blessing right here. See the way them are made? Them things multiply the torque that your hand puts onto the cutting edge. And I tell you what, if I didn't have these or tin snips, these tin snips are made the same way. See how they're made the same way in there? If I didn't have them, I couldn't cut this wire. way that lays down inside there. So now what we're going to do is we need 4 walls. Okay? That's what we need. And we're going to make it so that, let's see, 2 by 4, what are they? 3? They should be 3.5 tall. I'm going to measure inside here. Yeah, about 3.5. Okay, 3.5 deep. So, you know, honestly, if you had chicks, young chicks, that's tall enough. But you want to give them room to grow up a little bit while they're in there. So, that being the case, I am going to trying to decide. I only need a few more inches of height because I'm not going to use this for anything. I'm thinking a ceiling height of about 8 inches in here, and that's probably taller than what I'm ever going to need. But I'm thinking if I ever have a need to, if I use an 8-inch ceiling height, if I ever have a need to, I can put pigeons or quail in here. You know, even adult ones. Of course, it's tall enough right now. If I was brooding baby quail, it's way taller than I'll need. The only problem is this wire won't work because baby quail at a week old, they got feathers and they can fly, and they'll fly right through that stuff right there. You gotta have the stuff with smaller holes in it for quail. But I guess what I'm going to do is I'm going to have to cut some more pieces off of this wire. Once I decide, I think I'm going to need, I think I'll add about 6 inches all the way around to this. And let me see, what would 6 adding 3.5? That'd make it 9.5 ceiling height. That'd bring it up to about right here. That's tall enough. And that way, if you're using like a, we use the oh, I'll get it in a minute. I thought I had one around here. Anyway, the clamp-on hood, Brooder lights, you know, and we'll just set it up here on top. But the good thing is if I don't make this too tall, wherever we put it, you know, when the chicks are cold, they'll huddle underneath it. When they're not cold and are just comfortable, they'll come out and they'll move around the rest of this area, you know, if we put it like over to a corner. But here's the thing, if we don't make it too tall, you can use a lower wattage bulb, and of course it may be, you may be talking pennies here, but you know, over, you know, a run you're going to save a few pennies or something on the cost of electricity to run that light. Now I don't know, I don't think the cost of the bulbs themselves, you know, say a 4-pack of the incandescent bulbs, you know, 40 watt versus 60 watt or 75 watt, I don't think there's that much difference in the cost there, but it might save you a few pennies. Not to mention if you use a lower wattage bulb, there's always less chance of you overheating this wood and or whatever you use for bedding, and you know, we're always real careful of that anyway. And we don't turn a Brooder light on unless we have to have it. But anyway, I guess what I'll do is I'll cut you guys off for a little bit, and because I'm going to have to roll some wire out, I guess, on that off that roll some more, and then cut some pieces off. I'll get back with you when I get ready to make this, put them together. I'll show you how I put them together with the J-clips. I mean, I showed you here a while back the J-clip thing on the drop down nest boxes, but that ain't no big deal. We'll take a quick look at that again. But basically, you see how that fits inside there. That's how the whole cage is going to fit. Except from each side here, you're going to have sides going down about 6 inches or so. So I'm gonna cut the camera off and get some wire cut, and I'll come back to you whenever we get ready to put it together. See y'all in a few minutes.